Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we will be touring a brand new build. You can kind of see it right here behind me. But first, I just have a few quick things I want to talk about. The winner of the poll for the theme of the build was the Treehouse build. So like I said in the last video, you guys can get involved. I'm going to be putting up polls to decide the theme of these builds. So make sure to subscribe and keep checking that community tab. Next, I wanted to talk about the theme of this build. In the last video, I did Gandalf's workshop. Nothing particularly related to Gandalf though. It just felt like a magical setting to me. But in this build, I went all out with the theme. As you've seen in the title, this is Iroh's tea shop. If you haven't seen Avatar: The Last Airbender, that's okay. Essentially, this is a hidden tea shop in the woods, only accessible by ocean. Uncle Iroh is always running from the Fire Nation. So I decided to hide his tea shop out in the woods and up in the trees. This is the tea shop, this is the tea shop, and this is his house. So more on that in a minute, of course. But the last thing I wanted to say is that I did finally break down and get a mod. Check this mod out, guys. Look at this. You can place anything that's around you, you can place wherever you want. And not only that, but I can even, with the click of a button, boom, get rid of it. I absolutely had to have it to place trees right next to each other for the supports of these tree houses. I could have just done single trees, but I thought it looked cooler with more. And also look at the setting here. It's so enchanting here with all these extra little bushes. So I'll put the information in the description for this mod if you want to get it yourself, but let's go ahead and get into the video. All right, let's take a tour of Uncle Iroh's tea shop. So first things first, we've got a nice dock out here on the water. I thought it would be cool as part of the theme to have the tea shop hidden away. You know, the only way to access it is through the ocean. You have to come by boat and only certain people know where the tea shop is. You know, he's in a secret organization called like the White Lotus or something like that. And, you know, he's always running from the Fire Nation. So I thought it'd be cool to have his tea shop hidden away. So we've got a nice little dock area here. I didn't spend too much time on this. I just wanted to add a few curves into this, add a few straight lines, you know, just get some variations of shapes going here. And then we're going to move into the path which leads us up to the tea shop. Now the path is pretty cool because I kind of cut into the ground in some of the spots. So the ground is kind of up on the sides. I'm definitely going to be using this again in the future. It really made the path feel really cozy. We've also got a couple different like small pieces of infrastructure to guide you down the path. A couple of lampposts here and there. And of course, a lot of different bushes and things. Like I said, I highly recommend, whoa, that's a huge rock. I was trying to grab just a small plant as an example. So yeah, you know, I highly recommend you get this mod. It is just so useful. It allowed me to place so many little bushes and things and extra tree stumps and rocks, and it really just made this whole path just seem really cozy as you come down it. So now we can talk kind of about the tea shop itself. Before we actually go up the stairs into there, I want to kind of tell you guys how this all works. So when you're building next to trees, you probably already know, if you actually, I don't even need to add a piece. I can just go up here. You see how these are blue? Anything connected to the trees is going to become blue, just like if it was connected to the ground. Now, when it comes to these supports, these are completely cosmetic. You don't need these, but I just thought they looked really cool. Both trees are very similar supports, pretty much the same thing, not exactly the same, but pretty much. We've got supports coming down into the trees from the edges. It goes back up into the middle, and then there's also a ring which goes around and kind of connects them all up. So I don't know, I think it's just an interesting little addition to make this seem a little bit more realistic. Another thing that's really, really important to note is this right here. You can see how awesome these iron beams look, and over here they don't look quite as awesome, but they do look very nice. And the reason why they look good is because if you look closely, the floor is placed one layer above these. So as we come up this way, you can see more clearly where the iron beams are is right here, and then I free placed a second layer above this, so that on the inside there are no iron beams on the floor. Just a really nice detail. It makes it look better here with you know, extra depth. Being able to see the floor up behind these iron beams and it allows me to not have iron beams inside. So that's a big detail for tree houses that I highly recommend you use. You can also see another kind of, maybe I guess you could say, an advanced building tip is that I have 2 layered walls on both of these buildings. Now, if you haven't seen my explanation of the easiest way to do this, you can check out the lumberjack's house video, you can check out the longhouse video, but I'll quickly explain it right now with a little clip I took. Basically, you just use a wooden door, and that will give you multiple snapping points. Use the snapping point further back into the build, and then you want to place your wall there. And what that's going to do is that's going to give you another layer out front, because you can see my wall is actually in one layer. So this layer out front you can just use for details. This technique always adds more time to a build, but it definitely is worth it. And I'll give you guys a little circle around this build so you can see exactly what it looks like. We've got some really nice kind of swirly designs on the circle, and then on the square we've just got some nice 2-layered walls with some peaks in the middle. You can see the corners are cut out here with wards on the inside, and I even have some hidden lighting here with the turnip lights back in the corner, which you really can't see unless you're flying and you're right up next to them, and even some banners back in there as well. So yeah, this is just a couple of advanced tips. We'll have a few more as we go through the video, but let's go ahead and head up the stairs. These stairs are awesome. I did not need to put an iron beam every single staircase, but I thought this design looked really cool. 1 iron beam, and then I turned once and placed it into the tree, and then I added you know, a wooden beam as well to add a little bit to that design. As we go up the stairs, you can go right into the tea shop, or you can go left up the stairs. We're getting really high here, so if you're afraid of heights, I am sorry. It is going to get really tall up here. As we get to the top though, I can show you some of these views. Oh, I forgot to close the fence gates, but there is a little gate right here. We've got a coat rack here because this is an extension of the tea shop. So if you want to drink your tea outside, you can do that. You can come up here to this deck and you can get served here. And yeah, there's just some nice views up here. Like I said, we've got views of the forest over this way. We've got views of the ocean this way. And then over here in this table, we've got views of a lot of leaves. That kind of didn't work out very well, but you know, I don't know, that's just what happens when you get this high up in the trees. And if you're wondering, you actually cannot fall into this hole. No matter where this tree blows in the wind, this hole, so you can see you kind of just get stuck in it. It's kind of weird. I guess like the hitbox of the tree essentially is still the same even when the tree is moving. But now we can head back around the staircase and into the tea shop. Now the tea shop, you do have to cross a bridge to get to it. You know, it's a small bridge. I don't really have supports going to the ground either to help me. So this is kind of the design I came up with. You know, like I said, I wish it was bigger and I had more room to work with. Here's an example of this, how awesome this mod is, because I can place vines everywhere. So we've got a few vines here and there, which I think add a lot to the build. Tuck them away right there. But now let's go ahead and go inside and show you guys Iroh's tea shop. So first things first, I want to talk about this staircase. As you look up, the first thing I want to talk about is that I like to add details from floor to ceiling on all the walls. On the ceiling up here, I decided to add a little shelf which goes around, which is actually a walkway to access the storage. So you can actually walk all the way around this. You do have to kind of look at the wall a little bit, but you can get all the way around this to the very end, and essentially this is just extra storage for Uncle Iroh for his tea shop. Over here we have the first table. I did want to fit in one big chair, so that's what you've got here. We've got a little bit of food, but I think mainly it's just tea, so you're going to see a lot of different types of tankards. We've got some coat racks here by the door. Another advanced tip I could tell you guys, you definitely want to use these 1x1 floor pieces on your windowsills. You don't have to always do this, but I think it's a really nice detail to add occasionally into your build. You can see from the outside what this does for your build. It just adds a little bit of, you know, extra details. You can see what it does over here on this build, and on the inside what it does is it gives you a shelf to place things on. So it's actually a really cool little extra bit of shelving that you can use on the inside. As we go around, you can see we've got some details on the walls. Oh, this is white and black, and you'll see we've also got white and black here. And on the outside, you might have noticed we've got black flags. Now, I won't get too much into Avatar: The Last Airbender for those of you that haven't seen it, but Uncle Iroh is always running from the Fire Nation, which have all red flags. He is a member of the Fire Nation, but since he's running from them, I thought we'd keep it neutral. We wouldn't go red, and the most neutral color out of all of the colors to me here seemed like black, so that is what I ended up using. So now we can continue around. You can see we've got some nice deer rugs going around the circle. Love this detail. I wanted to use rugs here. It was a little tricky kind of figuring out how to do it though. Got a few tables going around, and then you can see on this side we've got a staircase for infrastructure, and on this side I wanted to add some infrastructure as well. So I added these nice Y support beams. They're of course just cosmetic, but I think they add a lot to this space. And also you can see I used sconces here to cover up the intersections of all of these beams to make that look a little bit better. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the tea shop. It's a small building, but it's got enough room here for, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tables. And then right here we have the end of the tea shop. There's actually gates right here, which I totally forgot to reclose. Essentially the shutters are here to close off any guests from coming over into Uncle Iroh's house. And now we can enter his house. Now, first things first, we've got a staircase going up to a little kind of deck right here, which goes all the way up to the real deck up top, which we'll go tour in a minute. Underneath this, we've got some more supports here, which are cosmetic. Underneath this, we've got 2 beds. Uncle Iroh, that is what he mainly goes by in the show. So there's also a bed for his nephew, who is one of the main characters of the show. Over here, we've got 3 chests stacked on top of each other. This is a very simple trick. You can see back behind here, what I have is just a beam, just a 1 meter beam, and right now I am shift clicking so that I can place it wherever I want, and you just slide it in behind and you basically just put it to where you almost can't see it, and it will allow you to place a chest onto the beam. And I did the same thing down below, except I was actually experimenting and I did it with a floor piece down below on top of the reinforced chest, and it worked with that as well. A little tankard for a detail there. We've got some shelving over here. Now the shelving, I always try to do some type of shelving. This time I wanted to use iron cage pieces, and I like them. I think it looks pretty cool. I've never tried that for shelves. It was a little too much though with all the shininess and everything, so I only used it for the supports and the top. The inner shelves I decided to stick with the normal thing I do, which is just like wooden floors. You can see I like to use trophies on the shelves, and then just some other miscellaneous details, and a nice little chair here taking advantage of the windowsill, which is created with the 1 by 1 meter floor pieces. And I just felt like this made sense here because views of the ocean. So now we can come around a little bit further. More Y beams, as you can see, going kind of all around. And we've got some fermenters here, which I guess would be storage for the tea shop. And now we can finally go up the stairs into this little area. Now you can see I've got some storage chairs here, darkwood chairs over in that corner, and up here we've got some more storage chests and benches, just things that they might need in the tea shop or out and around the tea shop. And then up here we have the top deck. I absolutely love this deck. This is probably the best view of like the docks and everything. Up there is way taller, but there's a lot of leaves because it's really tall in the tree. And I did choose one of the tallest pine I could find, but still at some point you get to all the leaves. So I do think this is the best view. We've got a little chair and table setup, with the views of the forest. Another, I guess, advanced tip I could say, these right here, these 1 by 1 meter fences, some people like them, some people don't. I think they're wonderful for fences. You can see I used them on the docks, I used them right here, but they're also really good for details and for trimming. So you can see up top this time I used them instead of down low for the fence. And for the fence I decided to use iron cage pieces and 2 meter long gaps. instead. Also, these iron supports here, these are iron poles inside, which you can see sticking out. I'll show you from the outside. So these iron poles, basically if I just go straight down, they are just the iron poles extended up from the house. I kind of liked the look of them in the deck, and I kind of liked the look, you know, how they stuck out like on the corners. But you could also just place new iron beams up here. Basically, you could have just placed new iron beams in the tree and stuck it out to support the roof. And yeah, I hope you guys like it. That is Uncle Iroh's tea shop. Alright, that is that for the video. If you want to stick around for like 10 more seconds, you can see some final cinematic shots of the whole thing. Thank you guys very much for watching. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to leave a like or maybe even subscribe. More coming soon. Don't forget to vote on those polls, get involved with the themes of the upcoming builds, and of course, as always, have a good one.